Hey guys, welcome to the Daily Devo. My name is Alex, and today we're talking about calling down fire. The Bible is full of some amazing stories, and today is certainly not anywhere short of amazing. Today's amazing fire devotional comes out of 1 Kings 18 with the prophet Elijah. But for some context, we should talk about what happens in 1 Kings 17 first. The king of Israel, his name was Ahab, who was not leading the people of Israel towards Yahweh, or who Elijah the prophet calls the one true God. Elijah tells the people of Israel that there's going to be a famine in Israel, with no rain or dew until, Elijah heard from God that the drought is over. This is because the people of Israel have turned away from the one true God, and this is their punishment. Elijah, this prophet, runs away because Ahab and his wife are not happy with this proclamation. Elijah runs, and the literal ravens feed him daily with food. It's wild. 3 years go by, and God tells Elijah that the drought will end and that God will bring rain to the land. So go back to Ahab and tell him the drought will end. So Elijah does just this. But this is where the story takes a wild turn. Ahab was clearly not happy with Elijah. This guy rightly prophesied that there would be a drought, and Ahab, the king, had to somehow lead Israel through a 3-year drought. Well, insert Elijah. Ahab wanted to kill him, but Elijah had a different plan. He tells Ahab to go and to get the prophets of Baal and the Israelites because there's going to be a major showdown on Mount Carmel. All of your prophets, about 450 of them, versus me, Elijah says, the one prophet of Yahweh. Whichever God ultimately brings fire from heaven and wins the showdown is the true God. Easy enough, right? Ahab gathers all of Israel, the prophets. Ahab sees this as an opportunity to prove a point to the Israelites, to solidify his name. I'm sure the Israelites were fairly mad at Ahab because of the drought. This would bring him back to a clear place of leadership to his people. Well, the moment comes. The prophets of Baal are dancing, shouting, "Baal, answer us!" And they shouted louder and louder. The text literally says that nothing happened, and Elijah taunts them. Finally, in 1 Kings 18, 38 and 39, it says this: "Then the fire of the Lord fell and burned up the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, and the soil, and also licked up the water from over the trench. When all the people saw this, they fell prostrate and cried, 'The Lord, He is God. The Lord, He is God.'" The fire, God's fire, fell from heaven. Just as Elijah said, God is the one true God. The people saw this, they knew this, and their response was wild, to fall on their knees prostrate. And that's what happens when you experience the fire from heaven. Or another way to say it is when you experience the realness of our God, the one true God. Ahab was trying to make a spectacle of Elijah, to use him in a way to prove his followers that Ahab was right and Elijah was wrong all along. And it didn't quite go as planned. Now, I'm not sure about you, but when I hear that story, it causes me to feel or experience two things. First, thankfulness. You see, fire in the Bible, which you will learn, represents God's power, His holiness, and His protection over His people. Jesus was the answer to all humanity, that God is the one true God, that He is who He says He is, and that causes thankfulness in me. And second, it causes me to worship, just as the people did when they saw that God worked in the way that He did. I remember this past Sunday, I sat listening to a song, and I didn't sing it, I just listened. It took me back to the first time I experienced God. And I think for a moment, I felt what the Israelites experienced at Mount Carmel. So maybe next time you worship, or you are in a spot where you're struggling to experience God in the moment, think about how the Israelites felt when they saw God for the first time. When the fire fell, and maybe remember that for you, that when you experience God, trust me, it will make you want to worship, because the fire from heaven wasn't just for Elijah then, but was certainly for us today, now.